Okay, thank you.
You've talked a lot about your depth this year,
Yeah.
or so far this season. Is that this when you play like 5 games in a weekend? Is this where it really shows up, especially from a pitching standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, going into the weekend, obviously each game you're trying to put the best 9 out there that you feel will give you the best chance to win. But you're looking both offensively and defensively, trying to fill those needs. But yeah, this team I think is a team that has a lot of depth and a lot of players that have earned the right to have an opportunity. And that can be good and can be bad because as a player, the one thing you always wanted is to be able to kind of work through those tough times. And every time you had a tough time, you weren't out of the lineup and someone else was in there. So you got to be kind of careful with the mentality of those switches. And I've tried to build to this team that, we have a lot of kids that contribute and a lot of kids that have the opportunity and deserve an opportunity to play. So we're going to play a lot of people.
Are there any personal expectations for Taylor this year?
Taylor, I think has been a grinder, and I think she wants to kind of, she's been knocking on the door, and I think right now she needs to knock the door down. I think in her mindset, she wants to have a great year. I think any senior that goes through this for 4 years, the one thing that you want is to be able to put your best effort your senior year and be able to carry a team to where we want to go. And, Taylor, I think, has worked extremely hard. I think right now she's in a good place mentally. I watched her throw the last couple of weeks in scrimmages, and she looked really good against our team. And sometimes that's a pretty good indicator because our players know her as well as anyone. So she's definitely, her ball's moving well. She's picked up some velocity, but I think the biggest thing right now is she's throwing the ball with great confidence on both sides of the plate, which we all know that was one of our goals is to get her to throw more in on hitters. And she's got a good mix right now, really good mix.
Coach, early in the season, how deep do you plan on using going into your pitching rotation?
I don't know. Time will tell. Like I said, we'll kind of take it, one game at a time, one inning at a time, and we definitely want to get I would, in a perfect world, I will be able to throw everyone a little bit this weekend, but we all know that the world's not perfect. So, I think time will tell what our needs are and how these games come about. This is not your typical starting weekend. We've kind of ramped it up, and so, our ultimate goal right now is to play well and win. And so whatever that dictates will dictate who will be out there and how much time they will have on the mound.
You like starting your season with such a tough schedule?
Yes, I do love it. I think it's going to be a good test for us to kind of see where we're at, and I think it really has helped elevate the energy and the focus of our players this entire fall. And I like it. So it's going to be challenging, but it's going to be challenging for both them and for us. I like our opportunities because we have I think a very mature group right now that will be playing the game, and the only thing that's difficult early on is the pitching usually has a little bit of an edge. Hitters have not had the at-bats yet that they need to have, but I like the challenge, and I think it'll be a great test for us to kind of see where we're at and where we need to go.
What do you hope to take away from this weekend, going up against such big schools?
5 victories. No, I want us, to be honest with you, I really want us to play well. And I think that's the one thing we've been trying to talk about is there's only certain things you can control in this game. So let's not worry about the end result. Let's worry about what we're doing from inning to inning, at pitch to pitch, And if we're playing well and we're playing the game hard and playing the game smart, then I think the process will take care of itself. But I think that's kind of what I base it on. Is sometimes you can play bad and win, and it's not a really good indicator. And sometimes you can get beat and play really well. And so I think the goal for us is to make sure that we're playing well, both offensively, defensively, and we're getting good pitching, because those are the three ingredients you have to take this baby into June.
What have you thought about Hillary in the outfield so far?
Adequate. She's, the big thing about Hill right now, she's swinging the bat well, and so you're trying to find a place for her. But, I think she's a kid that's worked her tail off to have an opportunity, and she doesn't really care where it is. And I just think right now probably right field is going to be her shot. I also think that we have some outfielders that are really good defensively but not so good offensively, and vice versa. So I think you'll see us using some of our better defensive players later on in the game in a defensive switch to give us both worlds.
You have 2 doubleheaders in a weekend. You have to be careful about managing how much Alyssa plays in the outfield.
I don't think so right now. I think Alyssa's doing well and feeling well. I really don't see any limitations on her at this point. She's strong as an ox. She's in great shape right now. She's feeling good about who she is, and she wants to be out there. And I think that's the big thing. So, again, we'll play it game by game and see how she is. But let's hope that there's no hurdles that we need to jump over here. But I think she's ready. I think she's ready to compete.
Is the team as a whole pretty healthy going on this trip?
Yes, very much so. January is a really tough month because you're practicing 6 days a week, and you're doing a lot of reps, and so right now they're going to start feeling a little better each week because they get a little bit of rest. But in games itself aren't as taxing as practice. So I think this team is about as healthy as we could ask for right now. We don't have, knock on wood, nothing that's keeping anyone out of the lineup or losing any reps. And that's what's been fun about this team. They have, their body of work has been really good. We haven't gone through any nagging injuries or any drama or anything like that. I mean, this team has been on top of their game from the time we started in September till now. And so I know they're biting at the bit to play someone else besides themselves.
What are you expecting from freshmen on this mature team?
I think our freshmen right now, I need to give kudos to, because they came into this program ready to compete. They're competitors. They're bulldogs. They get after it, But I also think that they're smart enough as an athlete to know where they're at, and that their time's going to come. But they're going to have patience, And I think this freshman class has embraced everything and anything we've asked them to do, and I don't see it going to be any different as we go on. I think. They're very capable of contributing this year, and they will contribute. How much will depend on how well they're able to do when their name's called and they're in the lineup.
We've asked about Marissa before, but what can you say about Vanessa and what she brings in this room?
Vanessa has improved tremendously from the time she's arrived to right now. I remember doing a little thing with Danny, and at that time I really felt like I didn't really know what exactly we were going to get out of her until we started inter-squatting game and seeing how she would react. And I'll tell you right now, she's thrown the ball very well. She's picked up speed, she's picked up movement, she's been a lot more consistent, and so that's a real plus for us to be able to have 2 lefties that we can go to, and to have 4 righties that we can go to. And I really think right now our pitching staff's in good shape right now. And the tough part's going to be is trying to get enough innings for 6 people to keep them at the top of their game.
I have weird question, but when you have taller pitchers versus shorter pitchers, is there maybe an advantage either way, or they being short now offers some advantages and being tall offers different advantages?
Yeah, I don't think the tall or short has anything to do with it. It's the movement. You know, I mean, you're going to get hitters out by speed, by movement, and by deception, and those are the three things that you're trying to do as a pitcher. Is you either have extremely good speed, which we don't have anyone throwing in the 70s right now, but we have some kids that are throwing in the high 60s. But at our league, hitters will catch up to speed. So the movement and the deception, the off-speed pitch, making everything look the same, I think are really keys. And, the good thing right now is we have a lot of different choices. So we can mix and match. The tough part is just knowing when to make that move. It's just some kids are much better in a starting role than they are in relief, but somewhere down the line we're going to have to give them opportunities to find out who can come into a ball game late and shut things down. And so there's going to be a little trial and error throughout this first 2 or 3 weeks, and that's really what the non-conference is all about. To make sure that when you get into conference play that you're pretty settled down as to what you're going to do.
How is the team preparing offensively for the big weekend?
Well, I think offensively we have done about everything that we can to give them as many live at-bats as needed. And so that's kind of been my goal in January is, we in the fall we do a lot of tee work, head-on toss work, a lot of batting practice. But in January, we kind of start eliminating the tee work because we don't play a game where the ball's stationary. So right now we're working a lot on seeing movement, on situational hitting, on understanding that we get into a weekend like this and we're going to probably face a pretty good rise ball. Are we able to make an adjustment with our hands to stay on top of that pitch and not swing under it and hit pop-ups? So right now it's just been challenging them to do some things and execute the game plan. Whether it's lay down a sacrifice bunt. At one time we were about charting our bunts. We were about 60%. Well, 60% is not good enough. So we put a little pressure on them to pay attention to the details. The sack bunt, the slap and run, the hit and run. How we're running our bases. Are we being aggressive? Are we being smart? And then more than anything, situational hitting. You're going to get out, but make sure that your outs are something that helps us in the game, and they're not unproductive outs. And so we've done a lot of inter-squad work, and like today, our batting practice is not your typical batting practice. It's situational batting practice where we actually have a defense out there and we're forcing them to think the game a little bit. So I think, truthfully, we are as ready as we can be at this point for this first weekend. Until we go out and take a test, we don't know where we're at. So that's kind of the way I look at the season is every weekend's a test, and you either pass a test or you don't. And if you don't, you better come back and work harder to pass the next one.
4 of your athletes were named to the USA Softball Player of the Year watch list. What does this mean to your program, going into the season?
Well, I'm not a real big believer on preseason polls. The only poll that matters to me is the last one. But I think that in itself is a tribute to those 4 athletes. They definitely have a body of work that someone has recognized as that could be something special. And with my involvement with USA Softball, anytime that we can get some recognition, I think it's fabulous. But on the other hand, I think these athletes all know that it's the slate is clean right now. It's 0-0, and they're hitting 0, and it's what you do from here on out. But we're very proud of it. It's great for our program. And I'm very proud of these young ladies because all of them have really worked hard to get to this point and develop, their skills and their mindset to be recognized as one of the top 25 in the country. Yeah.
Coach, 3 days till opening day, but 9 days until the grand opening of Hillenbrand. What are you most looking forward to the new Hillenbrand?
Well, if I said I was excited, it'd be an understatement. It's just been really a dream come true as the first Hillenbrand Stadium was. You know, in '93, I remember coming back from the World Series and drawing a stadium on a napkin and thought, man, if we could build something like this, we would be the first one in the country, and we could put people in the seats, and it would really help our recruiting and everything else. And all of that came to fruition when Bill Hillenbrand came to my office and offered to help me with a donation. And you know, 25 years ago, that was the Taj Mahal. Now we knew that we needed some work and a remodel. And as we talked about the remodel and talked about the process and the monies and how much it would cost, to be very honest with you, I did not ever dream that it was going to look the way it does right now. I looked at 100 drawings, but the drawings don't do justice to when you're on that field and you're looking up to those stands and you see the massiveness of it. And I think it's really going to be a facility that's going to sure help us. We're going to enjoy playing in it this year, but I really think it's the future of our program. And looking down the road, I think it's putting Arizona softball in a really good place, not only for our fans, but for recruiting and to keep this program where it needs to be, you know. And, you know, we've got great tradition, and but unfortunately today's athlete, what sells them is the glitz, you know, the great locker rooms, the beautiful facilities, the crazy looking uniforms that they love, and the shoes and this and that, and this is not going to do nothing but help us. But I'm really excited for the fans, because for so many years they've followed this program with great loyalty, without any shade. It's amazing that we haven't lost more people in May when it got hot and you're sitting in an oven with those bleachers. So I'm excited now for people when they walk into this place and look at it and see the great press box that we have, the club level, which is something very unique for college softball, and then the shade structure and the amenities that are there for the fans. So my favorite place in that whole stadium is that Alumni Plaza down the third baseline. It's just a great view, because you look to the back and you've got the Catalina Mountains, and they look so gorgeous, and then it's just a different view. And that's the one thing I've noticed, is every level that you go to, you get a whole different perspective of our field. Huh?
Was that a part of the drawing, or something that you?
Well, yeah, my drawings weren't quite as good as that, because at the time, really, we didn't know how much money we were going to have to do this remodel. And so, you know, with the support of our administration, and then the support of some donors that stepped it up big time for us, we were able to put, you know, enough money to really make a change. And I think that's the one thing that I'm excited about, is it's completely different. It's completely new. And I don't think I could have added anything else. The dugouts are twice as big. There's bathrooms in the dugout, which is a kind of a neat thing. You don't have to run down the left field line to go to the restroom in the middle of a game, and visitors don't have to go stand in line with the public to go to the restroom. And so that's going to be a great amenity for the players. I know they're going to love that, but I think it's the shade structure, the new lighting, the LED lighting. I mean, from top to bottom, it's classy. And so the only thing that's missing really is if I could have, I would have put the Yankee facade, you know, in front of it. It looked like a little miniature Yankee Stadium. I mean, that's how nice it is. But it's been fun to watch the progress and get a chance to know the workers that are working there every day. And it's been a challenge. I mean, they've been busting their butts trying to get this thing done. So I can't wait to hear the sound system and the lights on and fans in it. I think it's going to be louder, no doubt. And I think the fans are just going to enjoy the experience much more so.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.